Hi, I'm Mike Rafferty, founder and chief engineer at KVgear, and I'm very excited to be here today for a synth stand showdown between the KVgear Utility M1 and the Analog Cases XTS stand. So let's start with the KVgear Utility M1. We designed the stand back in 2016 and we've added a few enhancements to it along the way. We wanted to come up with a unique new stand so that musicians had something new to choose from. We wanted to make something that was adaptable, extendable, adjustable, so that the stand could grow and change over time as the needs of the musician change over time. We also wanted a stand that was rock solid stable and very durable, and we're really happy to report that we've been selling the stand for 7.5 years and we've had 0 problems with durability on this Utility M1 stand in that entire time. Lastly, we want the stand to be boring. For real, we want our stands to be sleek, streamlined, and unobtrusive, so they fade into the background so that you can pay attention to the music and to your synthesizers rather than the stand. So let's take a little bit closer look at the stand. We've sized it perfectly so it can hold anything from a Volca on up to something like a TR8. It has adjustable width, so it can easily be perfected to fit whatever size stand you have. And also we've got really solid rubber trim on the edges that touch the gear and that touch the table. This rubber trim is very thick and grippy and is securely attached to the stand. And then something that's really unique with our stands are these attachment points up here and down here. These allow us to attach gear stabilizers or stand stabilizers or an upper tier attachment. So let's take a look at that. The KVgear EDS UX upper tier extender can be attached right here. It gives you a second tier that gets added onto this stand. Or if you want to add one of our adapt wings, it can extend the length of the tier so that you can hold gear that's about this long. That is far in excess of what the stand could normally hold. And then likewise down here at the bottom, you can add an adapt wing at the bottom to hold heavily over unbalanced loads so that the whole stand won't tip backwards. And again, that helps the stand go from its great stability to exceptional stability. So I think it's time for us to look at the Analog Cases XTS stand. But before we do that, before we look, let's listen. Let's listen to what Analog Cases has to say about their stand. They say they have a unique extendable design. So unique is not going to be this because this has been out there for a few years. They have the most versatile stands on the planet. Okay, let's see about that. The ultimate in stability, so it's going to be more stable than this. Revolutionary new solution. Cool, it's going to not be this because it's going to be something special. And lastly, they're bringing innovative tools for your studio. So let's see, can we trust Analog Cases? So let's take a look at this thing. And made in China. This tube is really heavy. I can get a workout with this thing. Okay, let's see what we have here. Okay, loosen this, do that, do that. I've got to put this back on. It goes here. Okay, I guess I need to scoot it back. Okay, hopefully it stays on. Wait a minute. It's already loose. I just tightened it a minute ago. Okay, I'm going to tighten it again. Okay. Seems okay, I guess. Feels it's a little loose. That's already loose. I mean, I don't know. These are a little bit of a nuisance. These guys keep coming fairly loose. Let's compare it to the KVgear stand. Pretty much the same, right? Sides, angles, this, same. Trim, trim, trim. Bolts on with knobs, telescoping tubes. It's a copy. And you know, I don't like that they copied us, but it's okay. There's no law against it. We did not patent this design. What I don't like is that they're making false claims about this being revolutionary against this. It's a copy. Now let's take a really close look. We might find some small differences. But before we do that, I just remembered I need to say something. You might wonder, why did they copy this stand? Well, I'll tell you exactly why they copied it. Because it's perfect, they love it, and it's super stable. Now, I'm not using my imagination. Those are the words of the CEO of Analog Cases. He placed 8 orders with us earlier this year, buying 6 of these Utility M1 stands, one of our larger Adapt L1 stands, plus 2 of our metal expansion shelves that are made to fit on these stands. And he sent us glowing emails telling us how much he loved our stands, how he thought they were perfect, and how they are super stable, and how they look slick in his studio. So the CEO of Analog Cases loves our stands. And then a few months later, they release something that's pretty much a very, very close copy. So I think we can understand why they copied us. But again, we need to go into this and look at stands and see what's going on. Okay, both stands are gonna be loose. They're both loose. Now let's tighten, tighten, tighten. Okay, so now what happens when we use these stands and manipulate them and change the width and play with them a little bit? Adjust the width, tighten it again, adjust the width, tighten it again. How stable is the stand? That's not good. That's good. I didn't do anything. This isn't trick photography. We just adjusted the width of the stand. Let me back it up. Let me try it again. Tighten it. Now I'm going to adjust the width of the stand. Make the stand wider. Make the stand narrower. Adjust this one. Tighten it. Now back to narrow. Okay, well this one finally stayed stable. They're both, this is a lot heavier, wow. Anyway, they're roughly equivalent, as we know. We need to look at the trim used on these stands because there is actually a significant difference. It looks about the same, but they're different materials. This is all very thick rubber with, that's firmly attached to the stand. This is not rubber, this is a plastic, probably some sort of elastomer of a very high durometer, which means it's not very sticky. So on this one, if we put the gear above where it needs to be, I'm just demonstrating, this is not how you would use it, but I'm just demonstrating that the gear does not slip, it stays put. Now, of course, in use, you would put it down here, but if you put it up here, our rubber is very grippy. If you do the same thing over here, there's no grip. That's a more slippery plastic that is not that great at gripping. So things are gonna move around a little bit, and not so much here. So this is a more stable stand. As you're jamming on the controls, doing things, it's gonna stay put, whereas here, it's gonna tend to slide around a little bit. On the interest of weight, the KVgear stand is very, very lightweight, but super strong and stable. This thing is a rock. It's not going anywhere, but it's really light. This one, it's really heavy. Are you going to want to carry this in your backpack around town? No. Kind of feels like it weighs about the same as my Synth. I mean, this is an anchor, but it's your choice. You can carry around a bunch of steel if you want. Oh, look. The knobs came loose again. Come on. Please, guys, do we need this? We don't need this. Stable, solid. It's not going anywhere. What's going on? Come on. So what does this all mean? Well, it means that the consumer has choices. You can buy the KVgear Utility M1 stand, or you can buy the Analog Cases XTS stand. It's your choice. They both have the same layout, the same capability to hold the same amount of synths, and they're both pretty stable. There are some differences. We have a tremendous amount of expandability with our accessory mounting points. They only allow for 2 metal shelves to be installed here. We allow for 3 different metal shelves to be installed. And then we've already touched on, obviously, the weight. We've touched on some issues with the knobs and the slippery edge trim. Then the last thing to think about is manufacturing. We manufacture these stands here in Chicago, entirely made in the US. By us, we're synth fans. We do this because we love synths. This is made in China. If that matters to you, keep that in mind. And also, this KVgear Utility M1 stand is made by us. We originated this design. We poured our efforts into this, honing this design down to the bare essentials so that it was something very effective for musicians. This obviously is a copy, so it's your choice. Choose what you want, and it's all good. So thanks for listening.